Hi and welcome back to the Yogi. I'm Julia, your yoga instructor for arthritis. In today's video, I will be guiding you through a seated and standing accessible variation of tree pose, also known as VRKSASANA in Sanskrit. Tree pose is a balanced posture and also a classical one in yoga. Some of the physical health benefits of this posture include building strength in the legs, the core, hip opening, as well as improving your neuromuscular coordination, building balance and endurance. Some of the other benefits of tree pose include improved concentration and focus, as well as a grounding and calming energy. Not only does tree pose give us a moment of physical balance in our bodies, but it also invites us to move inward and focus on our inner balance. What you'll need for today's practice is a yoga mat, a sturdy chair without arms, a free wall, a yoga block, like this one I have right here, and a paperback book around this size. Gather your props, and I'll meet you right back here, seated on our chair for our seated variation. Find a comfortable seat and keep your props nearby. We have a book and our yoga block right next to us. Find the edge of the seat and ground your two sit bones, making sure to slide the heels forward and place them right underneath the knees. Relax the palms in your lap facing up or down, whichever is most comfortable for you today. And we'll begin by centering in very briefly before we go through the tutorial, so we can also benefit from this meditative practice. Close your eyes and inhale through the nose. And exhale completely. Lengthen your spine and inhale through the nostrils. And exhale fully through the nostrils. And with your eyes closed, take a moment to ask yourself how you feel. It's always good to have a quick check-in at the beginning of your practice. And now we'll ask ourselves the question, what would bring more balance into my life? Since we're practicing a balanced posture, a tree pose today, we'll take a moment to meditate on this question and notice what comes up for you. What would bring more balance into my life? Continue to flow with your breath. And we're bringing some awareness to these answers that might be floating up, and if nothing's coming up now, maybe it'll come up during your practice or later today. Just be open and receptive to receiving these answers. And take a long, slow, deep breath in through the nostrils one last time. And as you exhale, open the mouth and let out a sigh. You can slowly float open your eyes and bring some attention to the fingers, the toes. And now send the shoulders up to the ears and roll them behind you. Should feel good if you've been sitting for a long time, if you've been looking at your phone or your computer screen. And we'll do one more. Breathe in, reach the shoulders up, and then exhale to roll them down the back, palms facing forward in mountain pose, Tadasana. And we'll move into our tutorial for today, tree pose. What you'll need is a block. Place the block in front of your right foot, and we'll take our paperback book and just place it on our lap for a moment while we set up our foundation. Take your left knee, gently bend the left knee and reach it over to the block. Resting your foot on the block and allowing your left knee to slowly open to the left. You can keep your left hand underneath for support. And notice if it's comfortable, if there's no pain, you can gently release this arm and place it either to the side, to your hip, gently resting your hand on your hip. Lengthen our posture and notice how this feels. Make sure you feel solid in your foundation, that your right foot is underneath your right knee. And now that we have our foundation, we're grounding into the feet. We have the option to bring our book to the crown of the head, if that feels good to us. And then notice when it feels balanced. You can find a focus point, a drishti in Sanskrit, in front of you that's non-moving. And you have the option to keep your hand near the book for balance, or you can send your hand down to your waist. Taking a few mindful breaths, finding our balance seated in a new and exciting way. If you're feeling very balanced here, then you can attempt to lift your right arm up very slowly, either to cactus, or all the way overhead. I like using the mudra of wisdom, sending the thumb and index together, softening at the shoulders. Take a few mindful breaths, continue to soften the body and find your focus. When you're ready, you can gently send your hand to the book. Gently release the book from the crown of the head. Release your left hand, place it to the exterior of the left thigh, and gently send the knee in line back to center. Two of your feet are grounding down into your yoga mat or the floor. Just take a cleansing breath out through the mouth. One more time, breathe in through the nose. And exhale through the mouth. And reset your foundation. We'll take the block to the opposite side. So if you had it on your right, move the block facing upright on the highest height to your left side. We'll place the book on the left leg and then very gently ground into those left toes. Inhale, send the right knee towards you to place it on the block in front of you. Maybe you need to bring it a little bit closer. Maybe you need to bring it a little bit further. Take your time to adjust. And when you have your foot comfortably placed, the side of your foot comfortably placed on the block, allow your right knee to open up with the support from your right hand. Notice how it feels. If you need that support, keep your hand there. And if not, you can release, place the hand down or gently to the waist. And we're focusing on tree pose in a new and exciting way. I learned this technique with the book from one of my yoga teachers. I thought it was such a great idea to be able to balance in a seated position in a new way. And so what we'll do is we'll take the book gently and place it to the crown of the head. Find your tall posture, head in line with the spine. And when you feel like it's steady on your head, you can gently release your arm back down to your hip. And if it falls, it's all good. Just gently pick it up. And don't be mad at yourself for dropping the book. It's completely normal. Just place it back on your head and try again. So if you're feeling good and steady here, you can gently reach one of your arms up towards the sky in cactus with your elbow at 90 degrees, or you can reach your arm all the way up. You can use a mudra if you'd like, placing the thumb and index finger gently together in Chin Mudra, the mudra of wisdom. And keep a nice long spine. And stay here for a few mindful breaths, allowing yourself to explore the tree pose, to find a drishti and find a focal point where you can concentrate. Maybe you're feeling really adventurous and you want to reach both of your arms up. Notice what it feels like in the body. A few more breaths. And when you're ready, you can slowly send your hand to your book and release it from the crown of the head and place it back down on the lap. Send your right hand to the outside of your right thigh to gently send the knee back in line with the body, coming back into mountain pose. You can set your book down and come back to mountain. And notice how you feel. Take a breath. Notice if you feel more balanced. I hope that you enjoyed the seated variation. If you want to move on to the standing variations, then come along with me. All we'll need is our free wall, a sturdy chair without arms, and your yoga mat. Now we're moving into our standing variation of tree pose. You can find yourself at the front of your chair. If you're taking a standing chair yoga class, if you need support, this is a great option. Find mountain, ground into the 4 mounds of the feet, like we did in our seated variation, and take a few mindful breaths, gazing straight ahead. And when you feel ready to move into tree pose, we'll step to the left side of our chair, using our chair for balance. If you don't have a chair, you can use a wall and just allow yourself to have that support. Next, we'll bring our weight into the right foot and ground into the 4 mounds of the feet to bring equal distribution. Gently rotate the left leg, so the left knee is rotating out to the left to create a kickstand, sending the heel to the ankle, and the toes and the ball of the foot remain planted on your mat. You can send your left hand to your hip, or you can gently reach the arm up into cactus, or all the way over your head like this. Gaze straight ahead. You also have the option to send your foot and rest the sole of your foot to the inside of your calf or your inner thigh. You can reach and send your foot either to the inner thigh. I don't have the ability to bring it to my inner thigh because of knee arthritis. I am happy to bring it to kickstand or to the inner calf. So you can take any variation that's most accessible to you, whether seated or any of the 3 positions I mentioned with your foundation of the feet. whether a kickstand, resting in the inside of your calf or the inner thigh. You also have the option to test your balance, keeping your hand to your chair or the wall, or you can also notice if you feel stable enough to reach both arms up, either in cactus or all the way overhead. You can gaze at your drishti and you might sway in the wind, like you might see some trees outside. But notice how you feel and take a moment of silence to breathe. You can rest at any time and bring your hand back down. Gently rotate the left knee back to center and release, shaking out the legs. Notice how that felt. I'm taking a different camera angle today so you can see the posture in entirety. You can move your chair to the opposite side. You can always take a mini Tadasana, seated or standing, to breathe and ground. Take a pause. Next, we'll move to the other side, taking your left hand to your chair or a wall. Ground into the left foot and really ground into all the four corners of the feet for equal distribution. Slowly turn your right leg out towards the right and create a kickstand with the foot, the right heel gently resting on the ankle, and you're grounding on the balls and toes of the feet very lightly. The key is that we're gently allowing the hip to open, but both of our hips are in alignment. You can place your right hand to your hip if that's comfortable for you. You also have the option to slowly reach the arm to cactus, elbow at 90 degrees, or reach your arm all the way up using the mudra that you'd like, or just resting the hand. Notice your standing leg and gently keep a slight bend in that knee to avoid hyperextension of the knee. If you feel like it, you can bring your foot to the inside of your calf or your inner thigh and notice the difficulty level changing. Breathe deeply and notice the focal point of your choice in front of you, your drishti. And if you feel steady here, you can also challenge your balance by taking your left hand off of the chair and breathe. Know that you can fall and gently come back up. Keep activating the muscles of your legs, your core, and soften the shoulders. Whew. See, I fell there and that's okay. So I'm going to come back up. Maybe you feel different on one side than the other. That's perfectly normal. When you're ready, send your knee to the inside and slowly shake out the legs. A few important points about tree pose. It's really important that you have equal weight distribution in the feet if you're taking the standing variation, and know that there's no amount of time that you have to stay in this pose. You can stay in this posture for as long as you'd like, just taking a few mindful breaths, noticing the benefits of balancing on one foot, strengthening the muscles of the feet and the legs, opening the hips, and finding that inner balance. We'll take a gentle counter pose. Whether you want to take it seated or standing, that's perfectly fine. We're going to come into a forward fold, one of the counter poses for tree pose. So seated at the edge of your chair with a nice long spine, inhale. And as you exhale, gently fold forward with a long spine and send your forearms to your thighs in a halfway fold, releasing the head completely to your hands. And if you don't have any constrictions in the lumbar spine or low back pain, You can take the full variation, but take whichever one feels good to you by listening to your body. Take a few mindful breaths. Whether you're in the seated variation, take a few more mindful breaths, or you want to take a standing variation, which I'll show you right now. Standing with the chair. You're doing the same thing, grounding into the feet, lengthening the spine, and then exhale to fold, sending your hands to your chair, and then releasing your head completely. And breathing. Take one more full breath wherever you are. Full exhale. Then very mindfully, allow yourself to come up with a nice long spine. You can press the hands into the thighs or press your hands into the chair and then lengthen all the way back up. Thank you so much for joining me today for this short tutorial on how to tree pose. If you liked it, be sure to subscribe to my channel and check out my next video. Namaste.